The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, this is TVWAN News. I'm Jasmine Jack.
And I'm Rex Litter. Join me later in the sports news.
In this edition, relief efforts for flood-stricken Purari begins, new DF aircrafts for training, and younger Labour stepping up to the challenge. After 48 years since Papua New Guinea's self-governing, Teleforming district in West Sepik province is connected by road to closest mining town Tabubil in Western province. Access to basic government services has been made much easier for Teleforming's rural population, especially those at Urap Min village, whom the road first reached. On Wednesday, November the 1st, contractor IPZ connected the missing link road from Tabubil to Teleforming and Oksap Min to Copiago.
Raperoso government flagship Connect PNG policy is changing the lives of Teleforming people. This was evident as the Tabubil Teleforming and Oksapmin to Copiago missing link road finally reaching the first village of Teleforming district. On Wednesday, November 1st, 2023, machines used by contractor IPZ Limited arrived at Urapmin village. Minister for Works and Highways and Teleforming MP Solan Murisim is impressed with the progress of the road works. He says for the first time his people can travel to Tabubil, sell their fresh produce and return home on the same day. It normally takes 2 days to walk using bush trek from Teleforming to Tabubil. However, now locals can hop on a PMV to Tabubil, sell their fresh produce and return with store goods the same afternoon. Mirisim said road is an enabling infrastructure for development and his district has never seen or experienced that lifestyle for over 50 years. The road has reduced travel time, saved cost for people and most importantly, provided access for them to sell their fresh produce at Tabubil and Kiunga markets and return home with their hard-earned monies at the end of the day. Mirisim, on behalf of the Teleforming people, thanked the Maraperoso government for providing the support through the OTML tax credit scheme. He also extended his appreciation to OTML and contractor IPZ Limited for their tireless effort in what was a very challenging land geography to work with. It took them almost 5 years to cut through the Edenberg wall over to Rumbil and now into Teleforming First Village. Freddie Moe, TVWAN News.
Land issues continue to plague the country, leaving many landowners questioning whether there are laws relating to landowner participating in town and city planning, underwater leases, land compensation, and customary land rights and ownership. Now the Constitutional and Law Enforcement Commission is attending to those affected by this by launching issue papers for 4 terms of references. For the very first time, the Constitutional and Law Enforcement Commission, key departments and stakeholders launched issue papers for 4 terms of references to look at relating laws. This comes in an effort to provide a light at the end of the tunnel for impacted landowners.
Launched TOR 21, which says review of laws relating to it.
The 4 TORs are TOR 18, review of laws relating to integration of urban villages into town planning, urban development and expansion. TOR 19, review of laws relating to underwater leases and waterways. TOR 20, review of laws relating to land compensation in PNG. and TOR 21 review of laws relating to legal and versus customary land rights ownership.
And in our view, we think that these reviews are very important for the government. It is important for our frontline stakeholders who are involved in reforming some of these laws, who are implementing some of these, legislation like the Land Act. And so we feel that these reviews are important, and we must do a good job and present them with an outcome that they can rely on.
The objectives for the TORs are to identify key issues, inquire into the relevant laws, report to the government, and recommend to the government law reform proposals. An issue identified is landowner participation in a city or town, planning and decision-making. The city is currently expanding. CLRC and other stakeholders are aiming to not displace landowners, but integrate. For TOR 19, issues of underwater lease and waterways include land ownership, ownership rights, user rights, leases, claims, compensation, and benefit sharing. CLRC and other stakeholders are tackling the issues of ownership and ownership rights on land under the sea. The question remains, who owns which land under the sea? CLRC and other stakeholders are tackling the issue of ownership and ownership rights of land under the sea. The question still remains, who owns which land under the sea? TOR 20 also saw a number of issues, including the ownership versus transfer, whether landowners should retain ownership of land and not transfer upon acquisition, and TOR 21 with the main issue on whether minerals and petroleum resources should be owned by landowners.
I am confident that these reviews, we can be able to see light at the end of the tunnel for our people once these reviews are completed and final reports are brought in.
Moreover, one important aspect mentioned that should not be ignored is the displacement of landowners or urban and peri-settlements. Examples include the Ahi people in Lae, Moke people in Mount Hagen, and the Motu-Koitabu people in Port Moresby. Minister for Energy and Chairman for Constitutional and Law Reform Commission, Saki Soloma, emphasized this challenge for the government and country to look into when the reports from the issues papers of the terms of reference are given.
Villages living around the city areas, if we buy the land and we move them out, where do we settle them? That's their land. They need to stay in their land. So we have to come up with a way to put them as well, so they are part of the urbanization as well, and that's very, very important. So it's a challenge of our government and our country going forward. How do we integrate, get our people really living around the cities to be part of the development that is happening within the city or the town expansion area?
Will be handed over to police this weekend at Hanwabada village. This outcome is the result of a week-long awareness conducted by NCD Police, Motu-Koita Reservists Unit, and Hanwabada leaders in eradicating issues that arise from the production, sale, and consumption of illicit spirits. Police are conducting an awareness program on the production and sale of Ombru at Hanwabada village this week. The joint effort between police units in NCD, the Motu-Koita Police Reservist Unit, and leaders of Hanwabada ends today. The purpose of the awareness is to inform the general public and the people of Hanwabada that an enforcement team will be effecting arrest on anyone involved in the production and sale of illicit spirit. NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Silva Sika said police service to Hanwabada was cut off since 2014 following the shooting death of 2 local men. Sika said with that case now resolved, policing into the big village is necessary. Sika stressed that residents of Hanwabada and surrounding villages are part of NCD and that its law and that of the country equally applies to them for their protection or when they are in violation. Sika said the population is growing and law and order issues are increasing. It requires police attention. Sika added that one of the main contributing factors to law and order issues in the village is the consumption of Ombru. This Saturday, Ombru appliances will be handed over to police. Matsub Sika will be in Hanwabada
to witness this. Trace Sipa, TV1 News.
Local communities along the Purari in Gulf Province have greatly been affected by the recent flooding and king tides, destroying farming land, cleaning drinking water, and land for homes. In response, the Papua LNG project launched a disaster relief mission to assist villagers in its area of influence with food rations and medicine.
The project launched the disaster relief mission to assist villagers in its area of influence with food rations and medicine on Thursday, November 2nd at Apiope village at the mouth of the Purari River. Food items such as rice, tuna, noodles, oxen palm, as well as biscuits and essential items like buckets, mosquito nets, anti-malaria tablets, water purification tablets, and milk formula are an example of the 30-ton worth of relief supplies that have started being donated. Village Chief Simeon Villa says during the floods, the waters rose to heights above his chest, about 3 meters. He says the waters brought debris that had to be pushed out and removed by villagers during these high periods of water for fear that the debris would take down the houses. He added that bananas, a key food source, are dying. He thanked the project for its efforts and that of the provincial authority. Ward member Gabriel Ari said since the floods, there has been an outbreak of cough and fever among villagers. Many are affected by diarrhea due to contaminated water meant for drinking and cooking. Project staff distributed food rations while medical supplies were handed over to a community health worker based at the Aid Post or Health Center in the village. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
The Papua LNG project today continued day 2 of its relief mission, delivering to Aumu village food items, water purification tablets, and mosquito nets, among other essential items. Women leaders Pina and Elizabeth expressed the need for better focus on the local schools that has only 2 teachers, the other a volunteer teaching phonics.
Fina Noel has been teaching phonics for the past 3 years in the village of Aumu in Kikori District, Gulf Province. A volunteer, Fina says she had the opportunity to attend a 3-day workshop in 2021 and on return has taught children of the village alongside her sister, an educationist who teaches elementary to grades 1 and 2. Fina says she holds classes on Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays for her 22 students. Local woman Elizabeth Vai appeals for better focus on education in the area.
A concerned mother of the community, I appeal they must assist my school so that you see these young people, they have just go to some other places to school and they didn't succeed and they are just staying around in the village. So we want a help of our children's education in our community.
Aumu village is one of the areas in the Papua LNG project's relief mission plan. Today, the village also received food items and other essentials. This assistance will only last them 2 weeks. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
This is TV1 News. After the break, new PAC 750 handover and repair work cost covered for Kagamuga.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
Enjoy life when we work together, making happy memories that last forever. Harem talk young or roller scale, rice family meal with talk. Don't bring out the smiles, cause it's a favorite by miles. Seni sigola scale, rice low scale price. Seni sigola scale, rice low scale price.
But you like him?
all Mama Flame is no all same.
Me say you sing flame flower long one him. Me say me Kim Kai Kai belong family belong me. You go more yet.
Man belong me save like him flower balls belong me what them kawa war na spring onion. All pikinini belong me save like him to mas pineapple donut me save walk him lo house. Ne make kumu mix him on them cow na karama pim long flower.
Tasty hash browns.
Time is kelly one time wala pela kai kai. Me save kissing more kai kai long all get a toya mi tromoy one time flame flower.
You enough making more one time flame flower.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo and milk taste and added nutrients, Milo and milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Prime PNG made.
Quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different pack sizes. Snacks noodles, tastier but you like it more.
Welcome back. The Australian government has supported the Papua New Guinea Defence Force with a handover of 2 new PAC 750 light transport aircrafts in Port Moresby Thursday. This marks another milestone between the two nations in their growing defence aviation relationship. Australia's Assistant Minister for Defence Matt Thistlethwaite joined Papua New Guinea Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso to formally hand over the aircraft.
The APC 750 aircraft is worth 8.5 million Australian dollars, that's 20.4 million kina, and was donated to support the Papua New Guinea Defence Force Aviation Wing. It was selected in consultation with the PNGDF and has the ability to take off and land from short and varied airfields, which is highly valued in PNG's diverse terrain and geography. The aircraft will further increase PNGDF's sovereign aviation capabilities and enhance the ability of the government of Papua New Guinea to support communities and civil authorities across the country. The aircraft brings the PNGDF's PAC 750 fleet to 3, following the Australian Defence Force's support to remediate the PNGDF's first PAC 750 in 2021. Australian Assistant Defence Minister Matt Thistlethwaite said Australia is honoured to support PNGDF's ability to respond to the needs of the government and the people of Papua New Guinea in the aviation sector.
It will provide new opportunities for partnership between our two defence forces, and they'll play a key role in delivering Papua New Guinea's long-term goal of developing its sovereign aviation capability.
Thistlethwaite said as the aircrafts are put to work, Australia will continue to support PNGDF through the Royal Australian Air Force, the Defence Cooperation Programme and the Flights of Excellence Programme on aviation safety, maintenance and sustainment throughout the operation life of the aircraft. Meanwhile, PNG Deputy Prime Minister Rosso said this generous gift underscores the enduring partnerships and friendship between the two nations.
A significant contribution by Australia towards ensuring peace, security and stability within our region. This also provides opportunities for both PNGDF and Australian Defence Force to work together as partners.
Rosso said the aircraft will enhance the PNGDF capabilities and assist in safeguarding PNG's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Once again, thank you to Australia for your continued support to our bilateral relationships that we are very, very thankful and grateful.
Tracy Pa, TVWAN News.
Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso said the aircraft will be utilized to train young pilots in to operate similar aircraft in future. Rosso said pilots will also be trained to use the aircraft to reach PNG's borders, mainly to combat illegal activities such as smuggling of drugs that is on the rise in the country. It was vital to ensure there is regional border security as Papua New Guinea plays a central role in maintaining stability in the Pacific.
The platforms for the 750 is for the training of our young pilots, so that in preparation for future aircraft that we might acquire. Also, it's for insertion into stall airfields, like in short remote airfields on our borders, in search and rescue, in surveillance for unregulated illegal fishing boats. Also, it will assist us in fishery surveillance.
Not all our people will be engaged in the labor mobility scheme and work as laborers overseas. Michael Kumung, Deputy Secretary Policy and Planning, made these remarks during the leg of the MTDP4 consultation workshop in Port Moresby.
Labor overseas to work in farms in Australia and New Zealand is one way of addressing employment issues among our youth. However, not all youths can be sent overseas. Department of National Planning Deputy Secretary Policy and Planning Michael Kumung says we have to do more in the country to help our youths rather than wait for opportunities, including those from overseas.
We need to find a way to tap into our own potentials that we can mobilize our youths. And the government is now working on the national program, voluntary program or national service program that we want to really structure programs through the different development programs like agriculture, in the community development space, or in the youth mobilization programs that we and labor functions in our country.
Mr. Kumung also mentioned we may have potential opportunities through the agriculture and fisheries sector where we can create jobs for our youth. He stressed that MTDP4 will address all these challenges if all sectors of government work collectively to achieve government goals and visions.
The youths will always grow in numbers as we are growing in population, and the challenge will continue to remain. And sending labor overseas is one part of managing this, but we also need to do big rollout in the country to do that. And MTD4 is seriously looking at working with the relevant government agencies, working with the defense, working with the province and districts to really mobilize our youth through national service program.
Freddie Moe, TVWAN News.
There is no new cost to the networks at the Kagamega Airport runway. The current works falls within the defects liability period and the cost to be covered by the previous contractor. This was the assurance given by the National Airports Corporation as the public continues to demand answers as to who meets the cost of the maintenance work that's being carried out just a few months after the completion of the pavement upgrade by ESA Projects PNG Limited. Monies to fund the reworks will come from the performance bond retained by NSC under the CADIP 2 project.
Performance bond is a financial guarantee that the terms of a contract will be honored, and if one party cannot complete their obligation, the bond is paid out to the other party to compensate for the damages and cost. This is where the money for the reworks will come from, says NAC.
And we will use the money from the performance bond, which is kept by the bank. So that money is currently being used to meet the cost of doing the repair works.
A new contractor has been engaged for the repair works and will be using the performance bond of the previous contractor to maintain the runway. Eastpac will repair the 180-meter runway and is expected to have it done by mid-November, depending on the prevailing weather conditions. The original pavement upgrade work by ESA PNG Limited was funded under Tranche 2 of the ADB-funded Civil Aviation Development Investment Program, or CADIP, at 130 million kina. It also included the relocation of the control tower and fire station to the opposite side of the runway.
Previously, the air traffic control tower and the fire station used to be on this side of the airport. But during these upgrading works, it has been moved over to the other side. Because they needed to be rebuilt anyway, so we had to look for an alternate place. That was the appropriate place for it to be constructed there.
The cost of current repair works will be 900,000 kina, and NAC aims to compare the work done by ESA PNG Limited and Eastpac in order to assess the capability of contractors to deliver projects on budget and quality. NAC says the awarding of contracts goes through a transparent and rigorous process to determine the contractor. CADIP Program Director Wellington Warren explains the bidding process.
And so in the end, once the process is complete, we send it to ADB. Once ADB reviews the entire process and how the contractor was determined and they're happy with it, they issue what is called a no objection, and then we proceed with awarding the contracts.
Kagamuga Airport runway has a length of 2,190 meters, and with 180 meters under maintenance, airlines are utilizing 2,010 meters, the reason why flights had to be downgraded by Air New Guinea to Dash 8 and Q400. Salome Vincent, TVWAN News.
The repair works at Kagamuga Airport runway are necessary in order to maintain high standards of safety at the airport and avoid possible accidents. National Airport Corporation says while they have been pressured to meet the demands of the airlines, they will not compromise safety, and there is no better time to repair the pavement failure at Kagamuga than today. NAC says the frequent use of the runway by Air New Guinea's Boeing 737s also contributed to the pavement failure, as the pavement works are done to withstand a certain weight.
National Airports Corporation is being pressured by the airlines as they experience a downgrade of flights, leading to a disruption to their schedules. But NAC says it will never compromise safety over these pressures. NAC Chief Operating Officer Manuai Kametan says the challenge now is for them to complete the reworks as soon as they can in time for the peak period travel.
We have come to a stage where we must do things right. We must do things right so that when we finish the job, the works can last longer. And this is at no pressure from the industry and at no pressure from the politics.
The main defect identified on this runway was pavement failure.
The 737, because of the pavement is designed to withhold the strength of the load of the 737. However, the surfacing was not. The surfacing is a three-coat seal. And three-coat seal has got stones and bitumen, and sometimes the stones come off the bitumen, and they can be ingested by the engine of the 737, which is underneath the wing. Yeah, so we decided to limit the operations of the 737 to, I think, twice a week.
Twice or three times.
Twice or three times a week. But then, after that, the demand naturally grew, and the 737 started to come here daily, more than once a day or something, you know. So
twice daily.
Yeah, that had a huge impact on the pavement.
COO Kametan says the weight of Boeing 737 aircrafts contributed to the failure.
We experienced seal bin coming out from the pavement as a result of the impact from the aeroplanes. So if it's not attended to, then the failure extends out, combined with wet weather and all that. So, and that would be a result of lack of compaction of the pavement, inadequate compaction, some issues in terms of sealing works.
Kagamuga runway pavement is made of bitumen. Kametan says the runway will need to be redone using asphalt for strength and durability.
We want to put asphalt. Asphalt is the pavement that you see now in Port Moresby. They put it on the roads, and we've got it in Najab Airport, we've got it in Port Moresby Airport, we've got it in Mamoti, we've got it in KVN. So our next wave of upgrade in preparation for the A220 is to get our airports to have asphalt surfacing. So they will have a bit of, so in that way the pavement can last a bit long.
With New Guinea's purchase of Airbus crafts, this is something NAC will look into in future so the runways can withstand the weight from bigger aircrafts. The runway will also need an extension to 2,500 meters to cater for Airbus flights. Meantime, NAC is calling on airline companies to plan well their day-to-day operations as NAC works to complete the pavement maintenance by mid-November. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2695 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2620 $0.4048 Australian dollars, €0.2393 euro, and 39.10 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, all closed higher, except gold and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, ASX closed higher, and all ordinaries closed higher as well. You're watching TV1 News. We'll have news from abroad when we return. Stay with us.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
Hiya, Mama. You wait then, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magic kakaruki, up a big smile on face. Time for kimchi and a great fumu too. Sip, sip, the mumu, yes, magic on you.
Magic, the taste PNG loves.
Hey, you want to talk? Want to win one of 4 Costa buses? Simply collect 6 SP Lager Red promo caps and enter the draw at a participating store near you. There are heaps of other great prizes to win too, like SP Hunters jerseys and other awesome SP Lager gifts. So enter the draw today for a chance to win. There's a bus to be won in Islands, Southern, Momase, and the New Guinea Islands. SP Lager, bungi myumi!
Ton, 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 hino, ton, ton.
Nihimomo.
If you can't stop thinking about the Hino range of trucks, then you better drive one today. Hino.
Ton, ton.
Here's the hammer! What a ball! What a try! It means he's got a double! He's come off the bench and scored 2 tries in the first half. Kicked by Hughes, comes down right where it needs to, and a great leap and put down by Ronaldo Mulatalo.
Hi, I'm Darren Robertson, an expat pom, chef and part owner of the 3 Blue Ducks in the Sydney beachside suburb of Bronte. A few years ago, I started thinking about making a shift towards more sustainable cooking, but I've become fascinated with cooking over simple fire or hot coals. I just want to see how far I can push that theory and what these simple elements can help me create.
So welcome to my charcoal kitchen. Let's light the fires, stoke the coals and get cooking.
It's lights out and away we go.
Perfect getaway for both Mercedes, and they could take the speed through the first few corners.
Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there.
So, who's going to get away? Wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix!
And we're back. In southern Queensland, the focus is now on recovery efforts after bushfires spread through the area. But it's not over yet. There are about 70 bushfires burning across the state, and a prepare to leave alert is current for Carnarvon Gorge in the Central Highlands.
Well, conditions are easing here on Queensland's Southern Downs after several large spot fires ripped through the region earlier this week. Yesterday, we saw some fires erupt on the side of the New England Highway between Warwick and Dalveen. Waterbombing helicopters were quick to arrive on scene and put those blazes out, but there's still a watch and act alert for fires in this region, and locals are being encouraged not to return. The focus now is on the recovery efforts, which for primary producers in this region is going to be the next challenge. Many people in this region have stock, cattle and sheep, and with fires ripping through properties like the one just behind me, there's just no feed left on the ground. It's already been pretty dry here in recent months. We haven't had a lot of rain here, and with cattle prices quite low, that's going to be the next struggle for graziers here. Now, there is some good news on the way. Rain is forecast for this region today and in coming days. Firefighters on the ground are pretty happy to hear about that. But there is a concern that with rain will come lightning strikes, which could breathe new life into some of these fires. So the battle isn't over yet.
Australian fugitive Hakan Ayik has been arrested in Turkey alongside 36 others allegedly involved in an international organised crime ring.
Mr Ayik has been on the New South Wales Most Wanted list since 2010. Turkish police allege he's been involved in global drug trafficking, manslaughter, looting and money laundering. 36 other suspects were also arrested, including some with links to Australia. Though Mr Ayik is set to face court proceedings in Turkey, it's unclear if he'll be extradited to Australia over any alleged offences committed on shore. But the Australian Federal Police says the disruption of his activity is a significant outcome.
We sent warnings to these individuals that we were coming for them, and just because we can't prosecute them here in Australia doesn't mean that we can't disrupt their activities and the effect that they're having on our communities here, which is, peddling in drugs, the death and misery that brings.
The AFP has praised the work of its Turkish counterparts, describing them as regional leaders in the fight against organised crime. It said it provided its own support through its post in the Turkish capital, Ankara.
Scientists have created a new commercially viable way to recycle old clothing and other waste fabrics. The new technology grinds clothing down into fine particles that can be used as a pigment, which will help keep thousands of tons of textiles out of landfill each year.
It may be hard to believe, but all of this used to be old clothing.
A year ago we started working on this particular part of the project, which is funded by Sustainability Victoria, to look at a new way to handle textiles and reduce the textile waste problem.
Scientists at Deakin University in Geelong are using existing machinery used in industries like agriculture and mining to crush old clothes. The broken up fabric then goes into a second machine where it's mixed with water and small beads to grind the pigment into a liquid. It's then dried into a clay or a fine powder.
This particle can then be used as a pigment to dye other materials, such as other textiles or paper, wood, plastic, any other material that you'd like.
Pigments are the substances that colour items such as paint and dye and clothing, but many of them are made from harmful chemicals. Deakin's process could be a greener alternative, and some in the fashion industry are getting pretty excited.
Thank God this is already here in Australia. So right at our doorstep, we have the ability to innovate.
To test their product, Deakin partnered with artists to see how their pigment could work as a paint.
So really laying it on there.
was just really eager to get it onto a white canvas to see what the colours would look like.
Kiri Tawhai is one of 6 Indigenous artists who are part of an exhibition showcasing the uses of the pigment.
I really like painting bright, bold colours. A lot of the time, lately they've been flowers, but I do a lot of artwork surrounding songlines and a lot of movement.
She usually works with acrylic paint, which is made with plastic, and says she's keen to use something more environmentally friendly.
If we can actually take these beautiful bright fabrics, break it down into a usable pigment and then put these amazing pieces of art in the world, there was just something really amazing about that.
But she admits the technology needs some finessing.
Blue was a little bit more of a violet and the red was definitely a bit more of a pink.
Surf brand Rip Curl is also experimenting with the technology and has made t-shirts using the pigments to screen print different designs as part of Geelong Design Week. The next step is figuring out how to make the process commercially viable.
We're using equipment that is easily commercially available, so it's very easy to scale it up.
But there may be other obstacles.
What we know is there's a lot of work that needs to be done to secure large volumes of clothing so that the textile recyclers can build that infrastructure and know that that level of volume is secured.
One person keen to take on that challenge is Ben Kaminsky. He's the co-founder of a textile waste company who's partnered with the university to supply the waste material. He wants to open a factory to ramp up production.
Pigment's got a tremendous amount of potential uses. So we feel it can go back into as topical paints, it can go into building products.
And eventually, the pigment could go back into making new clothes.
Plastic bottles turning into t-shirts. Now that's not optimal. It's not bad, but it's not optimal. Really what we want is your old t-shirt turning into your new t-shirt.
Deakin University is now looking at the carbon footprint of the machines to figure out the most sustainable way to scale the method. But with Australia's innovation in the area of textile recycling still in its infancy, the path ahead may stretch out for a while yet.
Qantas shareholders have vented their anger at the board and senior management today at the airline's AGM.
Well, we've seen really unhappy shareholders today. We saw a 83% vote against the company's remuneration report. Now, this is quite a significant vote. It's telling us that their shareholders, in addition to their customers, are very unhappy. So the mood's basically been quite down. At the start they were quite quiet, but as the questions sort of went on, it became clear that shareholders are not happy. They had really wanted a lot of board renewal. They had wanted to see executive bonuses docked. As yet they've not seen this in the scale that they wanted anyway. So not so pleased today, the shareholders. So Qantas's message has really been apologising for its past mistakes. They've apologised for the way they treated customers, both in the aftermath of the pandemic, when people started to refly, and they had the whole saga which the ACCC is now taking them to court on, about selling 8,000 customers or more than 8,000 customers flights that were already cancelled. So these are the ghost flights. And they apologise for their behaviour. They know they have to lift their game, and a lot of the messaging from the CEO Vanessa Hudson was about looking forward. Qantas turns 103 later this month, and it was all about looking forward and how it can improve its performance. This is the CEO Vanessa Hudson.
There are many things, big and small, that we didn't get right, and for that we have sincerely apologised to our customers, our people. And today I apologise to you, our shareholders. As the new CEO, I am determined to make Qantas one of the most trusted brands in the country again. Determined to be the company that you, as owners, are proud of, that delivers value for stakeholders and gets the balance right. Doing this won't be easy, and it will take time.
So that was CEO Vanessa Hudson. What shareholders are now calling for is a real plan from Qantas. They say we're hearing words, but what we want to see now is concrete action. We want them to set out a plan for the future. How are they going to improve performance? So that's now yet to be seen.
And that ends the main news. Over to you, Rex.
Thanks, Jasmine.
When we return, we'll have sports news.
Carrying cash around used to be an everyday nightmare. So much trouble, so much danger. Now, this worry is over thanks to Cellmoney. It's safe and quick. I simply visit the Cellmoney agent down the street to load my money into my Cellmoney wallet and send money to my family and friends. And best of all, it's free. These days, I don't have to join long queues, but use my Cellmoney to send money to my mother, who also uses Cellmoney. She gets an alert to let her know when the money is in. Saves time and makes it easier to send money without any fees, anytime, anywhere. With my Cellmoney wallet, I can easily buy my EasyPay without a hassle.
Cellmoney, do it all with Cellmoney.
Lachlan from directly in front. North Melbourne are on the board in this one.
Scores them for fun, the South Sydney superstar. They worked it out this time, and finally, Micah Sevo goes back-to-back in a hurry. The speedster, here's his moment. You won't catch him. Shut the gates. Gunny, Gunny.
It takes a lot to be a rodeo kid.
Some people let nerves get to them, some people don't.
She don't take losing very well.
It does make a mama nervous.
It's gonna happen. You just don't know when or how bad it's gonna be.
It's good in the rodeo industry to have a very short memory.
Kid Rodeo, a brand new series coming soon on Outdoor.
I'd like to introduce to you our study companion on Bib, a messaging app that does much more than just texting. The first thing you'll do is go to Play Store, then download and install the Bib app. Then you go to More at the bottom right of the screen and click Discover. After that, search for the BLIT channel and click Follow. Type Hi into the text box and click onto the topic you want to watch and learn away. That's it, learners. Not so difficult after all. If you have any questions, head to our Facebook page for additional information. See you next time on Be Lit.
Great reach. He's been good across the net and he gave it a good go. And this one is taken.
Thanks for staying with us. In sports, following the successful Rugby World Cup campaign that saw South Africa's Springboks returning the World Cup title, Rugby World Cup expecting a 24 team participating in the 2027 tournament in Australia. Commenting on this, former PNG Rugby Union tournament coordinator Paul Joseph said, although this is a great opportunity for PNG Rugby Union to qualify for the event, there is still a lot to do in order to qualify. Joseph said there is no clear pathway for players, clubs, match officials going forward. He says the game in Papua New Guinea has gone back some 15 to 20 years and it will take the time, rather same number of years, for the PNG area to force within the top tier 3 and 2 nations in the Pacific. He says countries like Fiji, Samoa and Tonga are miles ahead. Joseph admitted that code needs to be a holistic approach from the bottom up and from the top down. The Port Moresby women's softball season proper will pitch off this Saturday after the successful conclusion of the Nancy Camara Cup pre-season challenge last month. President of Port Moresby Women's Softball Association, Ian Soweni, said teams that participated in the pre-season will return tomorrow for season proper. The teams are Bears, United Sisters, Stingers, Saints, Trebu, Mariners and Gazelle. Soweni said from the pre-season teams, only Saints join again for the proper season. The president further explained that they will play according to the normal softball competition rules this season. Clubs will also not be charged affiliation and registration fees. He is encouraging clubs to go out and recruit players to beef up their playing stock to make the season more competitive. The PNG Football Association has suspended its National Premier League competition to allow players to concentrate on their preparation for the Pacific Games. The competition will resume with finals after the SI Games. With country's first mentality, PNG Football Association has gathered its best men to represent the country at the Pacific Games in the Solomon Islands. It has put the National Premier League in recess as a result. The football body has assembled its best squad, yet consisting of both experienced and young talents. The squad is now in the training camp. According to the PNG Olympic Committee, Team PNG is expected to depart for Honiara on November 13, 2023. After reaping a shocking result at the recent Melanesian Spearhead Group Prime Minister's Cup in New Caledonia, the men's football team is aiming to go one step better in Solomon Islands with enough preparation time. Meanwhile, the women's national team is in camp. Its select squad went to camp immediately after the Women's Premier League finals. They are looking to defend their title in the regional event and bring home gold medals. Both teams have at least 2 weeks to prepare. The event begins on November 19th. That's all we have in sports. Over to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Rex. And now the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Regional weather. Southern, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms with rain areas, Milne Bay and Western Province. Port Moresby, cloudy periods with brief showers. Mombasa, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Lae, cloudy periods with few showers. New Guinea Islands, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Kavieng, partly cloudy with brief showers. Highlands, scattered showers and thunderstorms with areas of rain. Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy periods with brief showers. Ocean forecast. Coral and Solomon seas moderate to rough with southeast winds of 15 to 33 knots. Coastal waters forecast. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Huon Gulf to Fichefin. Seas 1.5 to 2 meters. And that wraps up the news tonight. Have a safe weekend. Bye for now.
The TVWAN News was proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank, our people.